And away we go in the second game of two. You didn't catch the first game. UMass Boston took it by a score of 5-1. Bri Melchianda got her 6th win in her 6th complete game of the year, despite not, I think, pitching with the level of control that she is used to pitching with. But the Beacons scored, and they scored enough. They scored some insurance runs late to put it away. Taylor Chelik, the center fielder, is going to roll that one over to short and will reach on the infield hit. It's going to be scored as an E6. Error against the shortstop, Lauren Miner. So the batter now will be Julianne Pacheco, excuse me. Pacheco now with a runner on. She's going to put the bunt down, same as the first game started. But this one, Chelik got back picked at the exact same play at the exact same point of the last game. This time, I think perhaps a little bit more aware. So she advances to second. There is one out. And the batter is Amanda. Excuse me, the batter is Amanda Penny. Takes ball one from Emily Doble, the starter for the Beacons. Coming into this one with an ERA that I think is a little bit inflated past what she would like it to be. Her head coach was saying she has pitched well despite it. Her stats were a bit skewed from down south. She fires that one over for a strike. The defense behind her looks like this, same as it did last game with one exception. Sophie Richland in left, Sydney Sandin in center, Amari English in right. Doble's 1-1 pitch is fouled off, 1-2. Jordan Toomey at first, Haley Tilbury at second, Lauren Miner at short, Lauren Bethia at third, with Caitlin Sawyer, who was in the designated player position last time, now catching. Strikeout, the first of the game for Doble. And so with one out and one on, the batter that one's chopped through the side at third. Base hit in the left field for Amsler. Coming all the way home and scoring is Taylor Chelik. And against Emily Doble, the Saints strike quickly. RBI single right away for Megan Amsler. Christina Winstead coming up, bringing the 5th spot home. That one is over for a strike. Doble winds, fires. That one's a ball as the runner scampers back to first. Caitlin Sawyer's eyes looking her way. Chip shot over past the scorer's table, and almost a great little catch there by one of the crew. Doble's going to come at you more with breaking stuff than Melchianda in the last game. She has picked up a few miles per hour on her fastball, but it's the off speed there that gets things done and sends us to the bottom of the first. The Saints get a run, strand a runner, and that's where we stand. Just about the same lineup for UMass Boston as they had last game, and that uber productive top of the lineup, Sophie Richland, Haley Tilbury, and Sydney Sandin, ready to get things going in the Beacons half of the first. And unlike the last game, they're coming into their first appearance at the plate, trailing. And a quick glasses swap over it for the first baseman, Megan Amsler. Back into the batter's box comes Richland. Has that little run up and slap hit style. She takes a strike here, 1-2. Coming home now, and there's another strike. 1-2 now the count. The pitcher out there is Mackenzie Briggs, making her 8th appearance on the season, 6th start. In 36 innings pitched, she's got an earned run average of 3.31, actually a couple of notches south of where her teammate Tiana Daw has hers. Two and two the count now. Sophie Richland. But a strong game in the first half of the doubleheader, and fouls that one off over by the dugout. Here comes the pitch. Punch to short. This is going to be a tough play. There will be no play. She had it beat even before the ball came out of the glove. An infield hit to lead off for Richland. And with one on and nobody out, Haley Tilbury up to keep things moving. Tilbury had a superb defensive game. She pops this one up. Basically responsible for about half the outs from her second base position, but she's going to be a quick out here and bring up Sydney Sandin with one on and one out. And there's a big hole up the middle, and running right into that hole and into second base is Richland for her second steal of the day. So Sophie Richland running wild from the leadoff spot, her second steal in as many innings going back to that first game. Now the Beacons have the tying run in scoring position on the bottom of the first with less than 2 out. Off-speed ball, 2-0. That one's a ball skipping in low just above the dirt. Briggs has got 30 strikeouts on the season against 11 walks. We're coming off of a game in which the Beacons pitcher struggled to throw strikes but gave up just the 1 run in spite of it. And where the Saints pitcher had no problem throwing strikes but gave up 5 runs, 2 of them coming late in that bottom of the 6th inning on a 2-run double by Bree Melchionda. Briggs comes home, that one's high, Sidnan takes the base. Especially when they get into conference play, you have to imagine Sydney Sandin's going to be top of mind for any opponent looking to scout. And with that comes an obligation to figure out to what extent are they actually going to pitch to you. versus pitch around you. Melchionda swings, cracks a fly ball into medium left field. Easy money out there for Pacheco, and that will be the second out of the inning. Next up against Briggs is the shortstop, Lauren Miner. An error in the previous inning that contributed to that run crossing the plate. And now strike one against her. Miner has started all 13 games for the Beacons in her freshman season. And Natalia Ardagna, her head coach, saying earlier this week that especially if she can get the defense where it needs to be, as you saw a moment ago, once she settles in, it's unlikely to leave the lineup. Swing and a miss at a fastball with some good giddy up on it. And the count is 1-2. So Richland at second after an infield single and a steal. Sandin at first after a walk. Suns just dip below the buildings here at UMass Boston softball field. That one's dug out behind home plate for a foul ball. It's getting increasingly colder out here as the sun disappears from view. You can see that shadow has just encompassed the pitching circle as an off-speed pitch sails away and a little bit high. Briggs comes home. Miner swings through it. And for the first time in this game and the fourth time today, Lauren Miner strikes out. So the Beacons get a hit and a walk, but strand a pair, and at the end of one full, they trail by one.
If I could write you a song to make you fall in love, I would already have you up under my arm. I used up all of my tricks. I hope that you like this, but you probably won't. You think you're cooler than me. You got designer shades just to hide your face, and you wear them around like you're cooler than me. And you never say hey or remember my name, and it's probably because you think you're cooler than me. You got your high brow shoes on your feet, and you wear them around like it ain't shit, but you don't know.
Top of the second inning. It's Emma Crisafulli, Sammy Hayes, Olivia Conti, who's being bounced down to the 8th spot from the 5th spot, where she was in the previous game. Crisafulli 0 for 2 with a walk in that first game. Grounds that one sharply but foul down the third base line. Had a 3-hit game for the Saints, and of course they got some stuff going through walks and errors as well. But Taylor Chelik at the top of the order was 3 of 4. She had every hit for the Saints in that previous game. Any number of players reached with walks, but as Doble fires off the plate for a ball, 3-1. Bench serenading her, the Saints bench that is, with chance of 2 high. Doble prepares to reset. Coming into this one with an ERA just north of 5 as that one's popped foul down the right field line and just out of the reach of the sprinting Amari English. Count runs full. Down she goes on strikes. And Doble, not known for being a big strikeout pitcher, has already got a couple of them in the early going. Correction, she's got 3 of them in the early going. Doble fires ball 1. Doble comes set, comes home. That one's a called strike. 1-1. Comebacker almost caught it on the fly, but she'll settle for a toss to first. Doble looks good in the early going, and the batter will be Olivia Conti. Conti's got a couple at-bats in the previous game where she was hitting in the 5 spot that she'd probably like to have back. Hit into a fielder's choice and struck out in her 2nd and 3rd at-bats respectively. Both of them with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Takes strike 1 over the plate. Her teammates chanting at her, "Live, let the dogs out." Inside joke, perhaps, as that one tails off the plate. 1-1. Doble peers in past a diving Bethia here and all the way into left field. Base hit for Conti. And after a couple of, like we mentioned, disappointing plate appearances in the previous game, it's got to feel good to get the snide off a little bit. This is a player who's been having as good a season at the plate as any Emmanuel player. Strike 1. That one's cracked into the gap, making a run on it is Richland, out of reach. And that'll get almost all the way to the wall. Around third and coming in to score is Olivia Conti. It's a run-scoring double for Lila Niederberger. And the Saints have a 2-0 lead over a Beacons team that beat them by 4 runs just a half hour ago. Two-bagger plates the run. And now they got a runner in scoring position, still with 2 outs. And Taylor Chellick, who, as we mentioned, has reached now, if you count the error, 4 out of the 5 times she's been to the dish today, has a chance to hit with a runner on. High pop fly, medium center field, Sandin settling underneath it for the 3rd out. So the Saints will strand 1. But they tack on another run. They lead it 2-0 now, and the Beacons will look for an answer in their half of the frame. Mari English, Jordan Toomey, Lauren Bethia, the 6 through 8 spots, and should anyone reach, Caitlin Sawyer to bring up the rear in the bottom of the second inning against Mackenzie Briggs, who seeded the hit and the walk in the bottom of the first, but got her way out of the jam with a fly out and a strikeout. Mari English slaps one into center field. That one's going to drop and eat up the center fielder. English takes a big turn, but will content herself with a single to lead off the inning. Her second hit of the day. She had a double in the first game. She continues to swing a hot bat early in the season. The batting average up around 360. And now it's Jordan Toomey. 1 of 3 in the last game and looking to do some damage here with English hitting ahead of her. This is an area of the lineup where Ardagna has some faith. English, Bethia, Toomey, Lauren Miner. It's this high potential part of the lineup that the pitchers down in South Carolina seem to really struggle to force their way through. Toomey squares to bunt. That one's down. It is rolling. Just foul. Thing almost ran out of spin as it danced up along the chalk line, and Toomey with a big smile, she takes the bat up again. Well, thank you for landing with us wherever you may be watching from. I'm Milton Posner. You're listening to the Beacons Broadcast Network here. The Beacons home opener today, as they won the first game of the doubleheader by a score of 5-1, and are looking to take their second doubleheader sweep in as many days after triumphing over Bridgewater State 9-1, 7-1 yesterday. The Saints came into this one having won a doubleheader over Emerson, but they are now 6-7 after the loss to the Beacons. The Beacons are 10-2. Best non-conference record of any Little East team, and as much as you don't want to put too much stock in this because teams play conference schedules of uneven strength, the Beacons did play some decent teams down south, and they're looking very good. Jordan Toomey, nevertheless, would like to have that at bat back. She strikes out swinging for the first out. It's Lauren Bethia now, 2 of 3 with an RBI in the previous game. An extra base hit. Player they're looking to provide some power, and for whom strikeouts have been a key part of the junior season. 7 strikeouts thus far, coming into the day rather, against just 1 walk. And she swings and misses at strike 1 here. Briggs winds and fires. It's a short, compact motion that she's got. It's not all that long. But you take a look at her, she's 5'4", a little bit shorter than both of the Beacon pitchers that we've seen here today. She's a first year out of West Warwick, Rhode Island, and one who has put together a pretty solid-looking campaign through the opening dozen or so games. Once again, an earned run average of 3.31, certainly going to get it done for you most days. One ball, 2 strikes. There's the pitch, chipped off at the plate, and Bethia stays alive. Tricky riser to handle. She just did get a chunk. Here it comes, off speed, tails high and away, and Bethia lays off. English over there on first base after the clean single up the middle. Has not been one for the base stealing so far this season. 2-2. Another one chipped into the backstop. Lauren Bethia is making Briggs work. Briggs being handled by Sammy Hayes behind the plate. It's got Megan Amsler at first, Amanda Penny at second, Olivia Conti at third, Christina Winstead at third. That one slapped over towards second, played on a couple of hops there by Penny, and she gets the second out of the inning. English slides her way over to second base, and with 2 out, the batter will be Caitlin Sawyer. Sawyer with that lean forward stance. Takes the ball up by the shoulders for a ball. 1 of 3 in the first game of the doubleheader with an RBI. Came early in the game in that second inning. That put the Beacons on top. That one bounces in. English with a big secondary lead. Didn't recognize the throw back at first. A clean catch and tag there, or a cleaner throw would have gotten her. She's grinning out there with a little sheepish smile on her face. I think she knows she got caught and lucked out. Sawyer chips that one off into the backstop. We've had a handful of those. Two and one now to Sawyer. Caitlin Sawyer's got 9 hits and 23 trips so far this season. She has driven in 5. Advantage of having her in a kind of a combo catcher DP role is that Natalia Ardagna doesn't have to play Tam Landry at the catcher spot every day, which is, not to say that any given catcher wouldn't be up for it, but it's a physically and mentally taxing position to be playing every day. Ground ball over to second. Tricky hop fielded nicely by Penny. And back-to-back outs recorded by the second baseman send us to the top of the third. Beacon still scoreless in the second game of the doubleheader. One run in each of the first 2 innings for Emmanuel College. They've logged 3 hits to this point. The Beacons had 2, but have not been able to leverage them into any runs so far. For Emily Doble, coming into this game with an ERA of 5.07, with a whip of about 1.8. And hitters have been hitting .350 against her. This is a pitcher who's had, I think when the numbers can be misleading, I think this is part of what her coach is getting at. She's had 6 starts before today, Doble has. None of them have been decent. By that what I mean is they have all been either very strong or kind of abysmal. There really hasn't been much in between. In 3 of her starts, she gave up just 1 earned run, which any coach is going to be pretty content with. And in 3 others, she gave up 6 or more runs. probably the worst of them was the one against Stevenson on March the 14th when she gave up 11 earned runs in that start. But the consistency is the sort of thing that comes with time, and given the way she pitched last year, you have to imagine, and if you're Natalia Aradagna, to hope that there are better things on the horizon. This is somebody who pitched 18 games last season, 13 of them starts, had an ERA just south of 3. Not a strikeout pitcher by any means, but got the job done. Pitched to contact when she needed to, got strikeouts when she needed to. Averaged a bit more than, or averaged about 1 strikeout every 2 innings last season. Is doing a little bit better than that this season and has kept the walks down, especially compared to Melchionda, as became a talking point last game. Doble fires. There's a ground ball over to Minor at short. Fields cleanly, but the runner's speedy. Out! By not much more than a toe or two. And a late call sends Chelik back to the dugout. Correction, sends Pacheco back to the dugout. My apologies. There's a ball over to Amanda Penny. Doble fires a little bit, took a little bit off on that pitch, but still a ball. So Pacheco grounds to the shortstop, and now it's Penny, hitless, like all but one of her teammates in the last game, but like many of her teammates, recorded a walk. He had the walks evenly distributed too. Most players in the middle of the order getting 1 and no more. Cracked foul down the right field line, 1 and 2. 2 and 2, rather. That one's at about the waist, but crept a little bit too far inside, and the count runs full now. Doble seeded 2 runs already, but fairness to her, one of them was unearned. Ground ball to second. Gathering and up with it is Tilbury for the second out. And now the batter will be Megan Amsler. RBI single her last time up. Did not officially have an at-bat in the last game. Walked twice and was hit by the pitch. Get on any way you can, I suppose. But got her first hit of the day and what was technically her first at-bat of the day. And that was what made it 1-0. That was what drove in the unearned run. Scored Chilik, who had reached on the air. Ground ball over to third. Bethea stays down, fires across, and ends the half of the inning. The first 1-2-3 half of the afternoon for Emily Doble. And the Beacons will have the top of the order coming up when we come back. back to the top of the order for the UMass Boston Beacons. Sophie Richland, Haley Tilbury, Sydney Sandin. And that's a call to strike, as Richland, as is the MO for the freshman, running up into the box. When a lefty does that, puts the ball on the ground 60 feet between the bases, it makes this thing really, really difficult to defend against. The team loses Sarah Harlinski 1 year. They get a replacement to hit at the top of the order who looks like she runs with a similar swinging style. Difference is Sarah Harlinski was not a particularly tall drink of water, and Richland's is 6 foot even. That's going to be a ball. Runs the count to 2-1. The corner's running up, which of course makes them liable to having the ball punched past them. You end up in this no man's land like we saw it down the line and left. Runs up with a bunt now, and a beautiful job off the rush. Christina Winstead with a lightning quick transfer of the glove to the hand. And Richland is retired on the bunt attempt. So a strong defensive play by Christina Winstead will bring up Haley Tilbury with none on and 1 out.
Your second baseman, number 3, Haley Tilbury.
Briggs really looking to settle in here. He's retired the last 4 in a row after a single by Amari English. Emily Doble retired the last 4 in a row as well. Led to her first 1-2-3 inning. Briggs is looking for hers. Tilbury swings behind the high fastball, and the count is 1-2. Tilbury hit .318 last season. 6 doubles, 6 triples as well, which is probably the more unbelievable thing. And coming into the day with 6 extra base hits, and that's not going to be her 7th. Strikes out swinging. And Mackenzie Briggs has looked really good so far. And now Sydney Sandin looking to knock her off her coaster.
The center fielder, number 14, Sydney Sandin.
Walked her last time up. We'll see how aggressive Briggs is in going after the number 3 hitter, Sandin. Who's 2 of 3 with a hit by pitch on top of it in the previous game. She swings and misses at strike 1. Who is hitting on the year at about .520. Swings and misses again, and we talked in the early going about how Tiana Daw didn't have hit or miss stuff in the early going against the Beacons. Mackenzie Briggs absolutely does. She has the more strikeouts of the pair too, and in fewer innings. Sandin just gets a small piece of that one to stay alive, still 0-2. 1, 2, 3 strikeouts, count them up, per pitcher. All of them swinging, as opposed to the rash of looking strikeouts we saw earlier in the day. Another 0-2. Off speed, outside, Sandin read it all the way. High, mile-high pop-up coming up and making a nice catch on the run is Amsler. So the Beacons, nothing doing here in their half of the third, and at the end of 3 full, they trail by 2. Oh, baby.
Leading off the top of the fourth inning for the Saints, the third baseman number 10, Christina Winstead.
Christina Winstead, Emma Crisafulli, and Sammy Hayes in the fourth inning for the Saints. In the bottom of the order, which didn't really produce much for the Saints in the first game, responsible for one of their runs today is Conti and Niederberger. Strung together a double and a single to extend the lead for Emmanuel College. It's the 5, 6, 7 spots that are still looking to produce as Winstead knocks that one foul. Winstead had that nice play in the last half inning against the bunt attempt from Sophie Richland. Once again, he dragged bunt with a lefty hitter in a sport where the bases are uber close together. Always going to be a tough out, certainly with somebody of Richland's speed, as Sydney Sandin makes the oncoming catch in center. So one away, and the batter's the designated player, Emma Crisafulli, with a walk today, but still looking for her first knock.
The designated player number 22, Emma Crisafulli.
Swings, cracks that one deep into right field. Going back on it is English to make the catch. One pitch, one out. And the batter will be Sammy Hayes. So some quick outs for Doble. She's thrown just 45 pitches to record 11 outs. You do worry about arm fatigue a little bit when you're playing doubleheaders on back-to-back days. Don't know for certain to what extent that played a role in the control issues that it seemed Melchiondo was having the whole game, last game for the Beacons. But Doble has, the one earned run notwithstanding, looked generally pretty sharp with her location. Has not been getting too far behind on too many hitters. Strike two. 1-2 now. That one's cracked high and foul. It'll stay the same. Doble's retired the last 6 in a row. Has looked pretty clean while doing it. 3 flyouts, 3 groundouts. And now it has a 1-2 count. Make it 2-2 count. On the number 7 hitter, Sammy Hayes in the catcher's spot. Like Crisafulli before her, 0 of 2 with a walk in the previous game. And Doble, we've got 3 strikeouts to this point, looking for a put-away pitch, and she's going to get it on a pop-up. Toomey over the head of the runner makes the catch and sends us to the bottom of the 4th. Still 2-0 Emmanuel. Bree Melchionda to get things going in the bottom of the fourth inning for a Beacon squad in sore need of some offense. They've had 2 hits to their name and a stolen base and a walk. That's it through 3 innings. And unfortunately for them, it wasn't strong enough together. As Melchionda puts a charge into that one, that's going deep into left field. It'll clang up against the fence. And hustling into second with a stand-up double is Bree Melchionda, her second double in her last 3 plate appearances. So a ringing fly ball double sets the table. And it'll be up to Lauren Miner, who did triple earlier today, but who has struck out in her other 4 plate appearances. With a Beacon sorely need here, if not a hit, as a ball in play. Something that can move the runner along. Mari English, the right fielder, waiting on deck. Briggs comes home. Back pick at second base, but the throw off the bag, and any chance they had of making Melchionda look foolish dissipates. Briggs fires again, loud crack, high pop, foul ball. Bouncing all the way back over towards us, up along the first base line behind the fence. Lauren Miner looking for a big hit here to cut the deficit. And instead, she's going to strike out for the 5th time today. Looking very dejected as she heads back to the dugout, understandably so. So another swinging strikeout. It's the 4th for Briggs. And the batter now, Amari English. Singled her last time up, had a double and a run scored in the first end of the doubleheader. That one bounces in. And looking Melchionda back to the bag is the catcher, Sammy Hayes. Peering in, coming set, coming home. That one bounces through, and the umpire's calling the play dead. It's saying it hit English. So it may have skipped off her toe. So Amari English reaches for the 2nd time in this game, and the batter will be Jordan Toomey. Jordan Toomey to the dish, grounded to second her last time up. Struck out her last time up, was 1 for 3 in the previous game. This is not a player who strikes out a ton, but Briggs got the better of her last time up. And now 0-1 to her this time. 2 on with 1 out here. Last time the Beacons had this situation, a fly out and a strikeout doomed the effort. Can the bottom of the order help to manufacture some runs? 1-1 pitch rather. Bunted back to the mound. Toomey with a picture-perfect sacrifice. And now it's up to Lauren Bethia. Melchionda at third. Amari English at second. 2 outs. And now Bethia, who grounded to second her last time up, 2 of 3 in the front end of the doubleheader, did drive in a run.
The third baseman, number 13.
Digs in, settles into the back of the box. High pop, sailing foul. And a big clang off the storage container and back. The grounds equipment is kept over by the Clark Athletic Center. We're sitting outside. Briggs to Bethia, and this one's high and away. 1-1 the count. In what is for the Beacons the highest leverage at bat of the game so far. Doble is pitching well, but Briggs is really pitching well. High pop, sailing backward again. One and two the count now to Lauren Bethia, the third baseman. Looking to wield a big club here. Already had one Lauren strikeout with a runner in scoring position. Now we've got two of them. Two Laurens and two runners in scoring position. Fly ball, right field coming on, and it's going to drop in front of the right fielder. 2 runs will score on a fly ball single from Lauren Bethia. We are tied. Didn't initially look like much, but it was well placed, and it gets the job done.
Now batting for the Beacons, the catcher, number 30, Caitlin Sawyer.
Caitlin Sawyer now to see if she can extend the inning. It's a fly ball single that falls just in front. As there's a strike there. In front of Lila Niederberger in right. As the back pick attempt at first is to no avail. Bethea's got a shirt full of dirt but is safe at the bag. She gets the job done from the number 8 spot. That one's cracked into right center field. That ball's going to drop. Bethea takes a bit of an awkward turnaround second, but easily makes it into third. There are runners at the corners with 2 out as we head back to the top of the lineup and Sophie Richland. Now Richland, who's used to slapping the ball all over the infield, might want to go with a slightly different approach here. We're going to have some manner of substitution. It's going to be a pinch runner at first. Running in the place of Sawyer will be, get a peek at the numbers, see if we can. Looks to be Kylie Gray, but we will double check that for you.
Blue. Who's that first? Thank you.
It is indeed Kylie Gray. We got some confirmation here. A freshman. Hitless in 3 at-bats, has walked, but is coming in here as a pinch runner. Have to wonder if she's being brought in to steal.
Now batting the left fielder, number 8, Sophie Richland.
Comes Richland, swings through that one. Grimaces toward the dugout, a little face. The downside of swinging the way she does, I mean, the upsides are obvious, right? It's great for legging out short slap hits. Downside is you can see how early she's committing. So you got to read the pitch really well, really cleanly out of the pitcher's hand, or else you're going to be in trouble trying to adjust and slap things, poke them foul, just to stay alive. So an awkward swing through the first pitch. Second pitch slapped foul, and now in a key spot here. 2 on, 2 out, 0-2 to Sophie Richland. Briggs deals. Punched on the ground, off the glove of Briggs. This is going to get a run home. Richland gets the job done And an instinctive reach for the ball from Briggs may have cost the fielders behind her a chance to make a play. The run comes in. And a big one for the Beacons as they take the lead. 3-run third inning. It's going to be scored as a hit. Slap. Center field. That one's down. Around third and on her way home and out at the plate. On a terrific throw is the pinch runner, Kylie Gray. So that'll end the inning. But the Beacons grab 3 runs, and at the end of 4 full, they lead by 1. There was some debate during the inning break. Natalia Ardagna asking about the possibility of an obstruction call. The rule being the catcher has to give you half of the plate. You cannot obstruct the entire plate if you do not have the ball. But it's going to go down as an outfield assist. A beautiful throw one way or the other from Taylor Chelek. It's the base hit from Tilbury that would have scored a run. As a huck on one hop, as Gray, obstruction call or not, was forced to the back of the plate to kind of run a bit of an out route there. But the Beacons, nevertheless, 3 runs in the inning on 5 hits. They finally strung them all together, and they look like the lineup that observers saw down in South Carolina. Charging in is the left fielder, but coming out to make the play is Minor, the shortstop. Doble has retired 8 in a row now as Conti heads back to the bench. Olivia Conti, that is. And the batter will be Lila Niederberger.
Number 11, Lila Niederberger.
Strike one, and Doble has settled in absolutely brilliantly. Allowed an RBI hit in the first inning. That was an unearned run. Allowed a couple of hits for an earned run in the second, but has since been absolutely perfect. Almost gone through the lineup once cleanly. That one is off the plate and high. 2-2. Excuse me, 2-1. Socked into right field. That's a base hit on a clean hop to English. In fact, it got out there so fast that Niederberger ran through the base, I think more concerned that English could throw her out from right field than anything else. So the streak of 8 consecutive batters retired is ended there. Niederberger is on with one man out. And back to the top of the order for Taylor Chelak. Scored, or reached on an error rather, and scored in the first inning. Grounds that one cleanly through the left side for a base hit. That is her 4th hit of the day. Easily the best performing of any of these Saints hitters. And at a very opportune time here. 2 on now with 1 out. Heading into the second and third spots in the order, and it's Julianne Pacheco being called on in a big spot here. Line drive, right center. That ball's down in front of English. Takes a weird dead hop on her. She fires home. Oh my goodness, what a strike! What a throw from Amari English! On the fly from deep right field to cut down the tying run. We talked about the strength of Amari English at the plate, and now you see it in the field. Hang that one up in a museum someplace. The defense has not always been what the Beacons coaches would like it to be early in the season. It happens with a lot of New England teams. It has to do with practice time and incorporating your new players and getting them practice on the actual field they're playing on and all that jazz, all that good stuff. But when it clicks, it can look like that. Off speed, off the plate, 2-1 now. And so a second runner caught at home. And no worry about an obstruction call this time. That one beat the runner by a hefty amount. Ground ball to third, strong throw to first. The run will not count. And the reason the run won't count, a critical second out. Absolutely stellar stuff from Amari English to preserve the lead. The field's still buzzing. The fans are still buzzing. We are still buzzing about an absolute missile from Amari English that is the reason the Beacons have still got this 3-2 lead you're looking at, and the reason that they're trying to build on it here. Sydney Sandin, Bree Melchionda, Lauren Miner, the 3 through 5 spots. But make no mistake, folks, that's the play of the day. Sandin hacks that one into the backstop. The strength to throw a softball that far in the air. You could have hung clothes on that thing. And Mackenzie Briggs now back to the hill. See where she is after a very difficult fourth inning where she gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. She looked very strong up until then. She'd scattered the lone base runners that had managed to find their way against her. Now she's got to go through the teeth of the lineup and try to find her composure again. Off speed, got Sandin looking. And that's just a brilliant mix of pitches to get the top hitter in the Beacons lineup. I'll tell you, folks, we'll move on from this at some point, but there's very little that's more fun in softball than a really good outfield assist like that. Fastball, high ball, ball 1 to Melchionda. Doubled and scored her last time up, doubled in 2 runs her last time up. 2 of 6 on the day. High back elbow. Takes one that skips across the plate for a ball. Briggs comes home. Melchionda swings about a quarter second late on that one. And is kind of getting a taste of the medicine she's been inflicting on those Saints hitters. Even when she didn't have the control, which is most of the last game, they could not catch up to her fastball. Beacons have caught up to some of Briggs, but she's thrown quite a few by him. A ball and 2 strikes now. Fires fly ball, shallow center, coming in on it and making the catch is Taylor Chelik for the second out.
Let's get it. I bought for 16 passenger. This a G5, no, this not a challenger. I get some members with me in the fridge. The coat seats, that's some cannibal healers. They like the good deed. Drink a whole bottle, wake up and repeat. She took a look, mixed it with the chill out.
The shortstop, number 11, Lauren Miner.
Hard hit line drive down the line, but beautifully positioned in right is Lila Niederberger, and a very frustrated Lauren Miner, who's struck out 5 out of 6 times today and finally got a hold of another one, was robbed of what would have been her second extra base hit. To the top of the 6th we go. The Beacons still clinging to a 1-run lead. Megan Amsler to the dish to lead off the 6th inning. She'll be followed by Christina Winstead and Emma Crisafulli. In a tight game. in sore need of some offense here against Emily Doble, who's looked pretty good pretty much from the second inning onward. Pop fly, is it going to stay playable for Toomey? Can't quite make it out. Yes, it will. Toomey makes the catch down the line. A tricky play ranging over by the fence. And records the out.
The third baseman, number 10, Christina Winstead.
Doble looking to go back on cruise control, even when she did give up 3 consecutive singles. An outfield assist that good can scuttle an inning. Another pop fly, Toomey again giving chase. And this one's going to be a little too close to the fence. He's laughing at it as she chased it down. But the hustle from her indisputable. 0-1 the count now to Emma Crisafulli, the designated player. Two runs on 6 hits and the 1 Beacon error for Emmanuel. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Beacons as they finally string them together. That one's lined down the line. Fair ball. Crisafulli will take a turn and will go for second. And she's in with a stand-up double. Runner in scoring position, the tying run with 1 out. And the Beacons on high alert now. Looking to sweep their second straight doubleheader. Emmanuel looking to salvage a split here against a team that came in with a record about 3 games better than theirs. 3.5 games better, actually. But Emmanuel looking to do it on the back of their pitching. The question was always going to be, is the offense going to get enough juice going to supply what they needed? Grounder to third, down to Anise Bethea. What a throw from third! The arms are coming out in force for the Beacons today. And Lauren Bethea with a beautiful throw from both knees to record the second out of the inning.
Pitch hitting for the Saints, number 15.
Over to third base is Winstead. The tying run now 60 feet away, however. And now pinch hitting in the number 7 spot for the catcher Hayes is going to be Madison Marks, who we saw pinch hit in the prior game and was retired in her only at-bat. So Marks once again being called on off the bench late. High pop fly in the left field. Richland did not get the best beat on it, but she comes to record the out nevertheless. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Beacons with 1 more chance to add some insurance. We'll be right back. Here comes Amari English with a big golf swing and a miss at that one to lead off the bottom of the 6th. With an early play of the year candidate on a huck from way back in right center field as she swings and misses at that one. She plays a power game in the field. She plays a power game at the plate. She's looking to build on this. She singled her first time up, was hit by a pitch, and came around to score one of the Beacons' 3 runs her second time. And way out in front of this one, and perhaps a little bit of an impatient at bat from Amari English, and she goes down to the dugout, or overeager, I should say. She goes down swinging for the first out of the bottom of the 6th. Jordan Toomey now, grounded to second her first time, singled in 2. Excuse me, looking at the wrong stat line. Struck out her first time, sacrificed bunt her last time up to set up the 2-run single that put the Beacons in front. That rally was cut a little bit short by a solid throw from center fielder Taylor Chelek, not to be overshadowed by what English did. That was a pretty darn good strike from center as well. So we have seen the defense, particularly the arms, come out for both teams, especially for UMass Boston in the last couple of innings. Both teams fighting for a win before the sun goes down and we all go our separate merry ways for the weekend. I want to thank you for spending your Friday afternoon and evening with us, watching the Beacon Broadcast Network. I'm Milton Posner bringing you this one. Two and 2 the count now. UMass Boston looking for some insurance. It's going to be the 8, 9, and 1 spots for the Saints coming up in the next inning. Conti, Niederberger, and Chelek as Toomey strikes out for the second time. Not something she does a whole lot, but it's happened multiple times in this one. So back-to-back strikeouts, back-to-back swinging strikeouts for Mackenzie Briggs. And the Beacons' last chance to extend the inning is Lauren Bethia. 2-run single her last time up. High pop fly out of play this time. And Bethia with a splendid throw to retire Chris Afuli in that top half of the inning. We're talking about this here at the scorer's table in between innings. Throwing from one knee is one thing. She lines that one into right center field. That's going to be a single and maybe more. She takes a big turn and throws on the brakes. It's one thing to throw from one knee. At least you can get your hips and your shoulders into it a little bit. You can twist your body, get some torque behind it to make up for what you're not getting from your legs. When you throw from both knees like she did, good luck. You're operating all on arm strength and you're trying to bisect the diamond. But Bethia got it done. She's going to give way to a pinch runner here. I want to get you confirmation on who this is. It's a little tricky to tell from our vantage point. It's going to be Kaylee Bruce in her first action of the day, on as a pinch runner. The Beacons looking to manufacture some insurance here with 2 out. We'll see if Bruce will be running, and if so, how long it'll take. Pitch taken at the plate. It's Caitlin Sawyer trying to move things along. Briggs comes home. Sawyer, line drive. Oh, what a catch! Olivia Conti diving to her right. And the Web Gems are coming fast and furious in the second end of our doubleheader. To the top of the 7th we go. 3 outs and a run to get for the Saints. 8, 9, and 1 spots with Conti, who just made that splendid catch, leading off in a moment. What looked like a softball game just half an hour ago has been turned into a highlight compilation. First, it was the giant heave from Taylor Chelik in center on a hop to cut down one of the beacons at home. Then Amari English one-upped with a beautiful ball on the fly. That one's tucked inside third. It's in. And Conti, after a diving catch to close the last half inning, has got a stand-up double with nobody out in the 7th. Just to put a bow on that last point, though. One up from English. Lauren Bethia at third with a beautiful chest-high strike from third to first from both knees. And then Conti having about as good a 3 minutes as anybody has today with a diving catch at short on a would-be single to left. And now a leadoff double. Coming up to bunt, spinning ball right in front of the plate. Oh, and the runner's coming home. Oh, what a play! Conti scores from second on a bunt. And we're even. Have you seen a better 3 minutes of softball than we just saw from Olivia Conti? After being retired twice with the bases loaded in the front end of the doubleheader. Diving catch, leadoff double, scores from second on a bunt. We are tied 3-3 in the top of the 7th, 1 out. The bases are clear. And it's Taylor Chelik in to try to extend things. So an RBI sacrifice bunt for Lila Niederberger. And Conti knew all the way what she was doing. Inside now, 1-2. On deck is the left fielder, Julianne Pacheco. Hard hit grounder to short. Picked by Minor. Oh, and a beautiful stretch by Toomey at first. It's defensive one-upsmanship all over the place. There are 2 outs in the inning, and now it's Pacheco. The run given up by Doble is her third of the game, just the second earned run. Line drive, left field, clean single, and maybe more. Big turn, and opting not to test Richland is Pacheco. I'll tell you something, folks. Through 3 innings, through 4 innings, really, this looked like it was going to be a normal softball game. The 5th, 6th, and 7th innings have been absolutely bananas from play to play. Fake it a back pick there from Sawyer, letting Pacheco know that she's looking. The game is tied. If someone doesn't take a lead soon, you don't want a game like this to be called on account of darkness, but that is becoming a risk. Doble fires home, that's a ball. These games were originally scheduled to be played earlier in the day tomorrow. We got some incoming inclement weather in Boston, and the games were shoved up a day. Strike. 2-1 now. For the Beacons in the bottom half of the inning, it'll be the top of the order, Richland, Tilbury, Sandon. Line drive in the left field, another hit. The go-ahead run is at second base, and the batter will be Amanda Penny. Correction, the batter will be Megan Amsler.
The first baseman, number 44, Megan Amsler.
Go-ahead run in scoring position for Amsler, who had an RBI hit back in the first inning of this one. Is 1 of 5 with a walk on the day. And takes ball 1 here. Doble winds, fires outside half for a strike. Big time spot here for Amsler. Reaches out and just does get a piece of that one. Jabs it foul. 1-2. Infield at normal depth. Playing straight away. Pops that one foul. Same spot, same count. We'll do it again. Off speed, low. And that's going to put the count at 2-2. 3-3 in the top of the 7th. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2 to Megan Amsler. Here's the pitch. Line drive, diving, it's knocked down, but it gets through. Throw to the plate is not in time, and the Saints have taken the lead. RBI single for Megan Amsler, her second of the game as Pacheco comes in to score. And still it is first and second with 2 out. Ardagna wants a talk with Doble. And we are going to have a pitching change here. We're going to step aside for a moment and fill you in when we come back. For the first time today, for either team, we're going to the bullpen. It's Adriana Fusco, the first year. And we've got a pinch hitter as well coming up for the Saints. As Fusco fires over for a strike. It's Christina Winstead. Correction, not a pinch hitter. Those erroneously announced. Fusco's pitched 5 innings in relief so far this season. He's gotten some at-bats under as well. It goes like this: 17 at-bats on the year, 7 hits, 2 of them doubles. From the mound, more importantly, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits given up, 2 earned runs in those 5 innings. Fastball high. Like Briggs on the shorter side, especially by pitcher standards, 5'1". Sophomore combo pitcher outfielder. Fly ball, right center field. English going back on it into the gap to make the catch. Beacons down 1. Top of the lineup. Last chance to draw even or better and come out with a doubleheader sweep. The Beacons look to be in the driver's seat for most of the second half of this game, leading by a run after their 3-run 4th inning. But the Saints came back with 2 runs at a key time, the top of the 7th inning, when they took a 1-run lead headed into what could be the last frame of the game. Sophie Richland up, followed by Haley Tilbury and Sydney Sandin. That one's popped into shallow left for a key first out for Mackenzie Briggs, who deserves her flowers for this one regardless of how it turns out. She has held tough against a difficult Beacons lineup that has been obliterating most of the pitchers that have crossed paths with him so far this season. It's a team that's put up 8 unanswered runs in one game down in South Carolina. It's a team that has posted 9 or more runs 4 different times through their opening 11 games. It's a squad with some bats, and one of those bats is Haley Tilbury, who takes ball 1. Trying to bring the winning run to the plate. Fastball, ball 2. Doble has issued no walks in her innings of work. Briggs, who fires strike 1 there, has walked just the 1. If this game does continue, you imagine Fusco would continue to get the ball. Melchionda having pitched the first game. High pop fly, out of play, 2-2. Tilbury, 1 of 3 in this one, 1 of 4 in the first game. Came into the day hitting over 400 through the team's first 11 games. Really wants to give her team something to cheer about here. And something for Sydney Sandin behind her to work with. 2-2, ball 3. Darkness starting to fall on the harbor as we approach 7 o'clock. Ball 4. And Tilbury flings the bat aside and enthusiastically jogs down to first. The tying run is aboard. The winning run is up, and unfortunately for Emmanuel College, it's Sydney Sandin. 0 of 2 for the walk in this one, but 2 of 3 in the previous game. She has reached 4 out of 7 times today. Fly ball into center field. This should be playable for Chelik. It is. And the Beacons are down to their last out. It's Bree Melchionda looking to move that tying run in or along and to give the Beacons a chance to walk this thing off. Doubled and scored in her second plate appearance. She's 2 of 7 with 2 doubles today. She takes ball 1. Tilbury at first. She's stolen 4 out of 5. Do they risk sending her here? It's a 2-0 count on Melchionda. You got speedy runners, you've empowered them to run. Sharp ground ball into right field, base hit. Tilbury will stop at second. It's a single for Melchionda. The winning run is at first. The tying run is in scoring position. And the batter will be Lauren Miner. Miner tripled in the first game. Lined out sharply to right field on a ball that probably goes for a hit 4 times out of 5. They're trying to square the lineup away here as Miner strolled to the dish, but she has struck out 5 times today. And what a redemption it would be for her. She seemed so frustrated in her last few at-bats. What a redemption it would be for the freshman to knock home the tying run here in the bottom of the 7th. So we got a meeting on the mound here and may have some substitutions. 19 for 12, we are told, on the Beacon side, so Melchionda for Fusco. Or excuse me, vice versa. Fusco is running for Melchionda here. Remember, she plays outfield as well. So she slots in for Melchionda here, representing the winning run at first. And here we go. 4-3, Saints over Beacons, 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. The tying run, Haley Tilbury at second. The winning run, Adriana Fusco at first. And strike 1 on a close first pitch to Lauren Miner, the freshman shortstop. Looking to do some damage here and bring this score even. Cracks that one foul, and the Beacons down to their final strike. Mackenzie Briggs trying to drive her way out of a traffic jam and secure a gutsy win here over a tough Beacon squad. Lauren Miner trying to extend this game. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. The Saints earn a split and in a highlight-riddled second game, emerge victorious after a 2-run top of the 7th. The win, and a deserved one for Mackenzie Briggs. So the Beacons take the first game of the doubleheader 5-1. The Saints come back, take the second 4-3. The Saints are 7-7 on the season. The Beacons fall to 10-3. They're going to have a quick little burst off before their next game. That would be a doubleheader at Suffolk on the 30th of March before opening conference on the road against Keene State on April the 1st. Their next games back here it'll be a 6-game stretch after that with doubleheaders against Emerson, Curry, and Southern Maine. Another thank you to our crew, to Malik Lorquette on the camera, to Grace Kelly and David Wahlberg, Liz Cram for everything they did over here at the scorer's table to make this broadcast happen. Once again, the final scores: UMass Boston takes the first game over Emmanuel College 5-1. Emmanuel bites back 4-3 in the capper. For all of us here at UMass Boston, I'm Milton Posner saying thank you so very much for listening, and enjoy your evening and the rest of your week.